Hello everybody, my name is Malasteren and I am the Guild Master of the Dragon Hearts Guild, and tonight we're going to be bringing you our spoiler-filled review of the Black Panther movie. Tonight I am joined by the Unfortunate Puppy and Lady Epsy. If you wish to introduce yourselves.
Okay, Lady... Yo, did I really have Lady Epsy? I do. Okay, you just mispronounced it.
Well, pick
You
an
said
easier name.
you said Epsy or
Epsy,
something.
it's late. Don't blame me. Puppy, would you
I
like to
know
say
it's
any
late.
introductions?
I'm a 14-year-old anime girl.
You know what, I'll take it.
And that's what we're going with. All right.
So
That's all you get from
we
me.
just got back from seeing Black Panther, and we're gonna talk about it for a bit. And once again, this is gonna be filled with spoilers, and I'm too lazy to slap a spoiler warning on the screen. So you better have been listening, and that ends now. So get out of here if you don't want to hear what happens. Puppy, would you like to lead off the beginning of this discussion?
Well, okay, so it's very simple that I think we should. Okay, well, it's kind of obvious that at least two of the three of us here have a negative impression of this film. So I do believe it's only fair we start with what we did enjoy about the film.
Okay. I think that the soundtrack it was pretty okay.
Oh my
And
god.
Oh
that's about the
no.
nicest thing I can say about this.
That I honestly can say that soundtrack was one of the best parts of the entire film. Beautifully choreographed, beautifully directed. Everything about the soundtrack fit really well into the film. Um, I mean, really, the film had its moments. It's by no means a bad film. But going off topic, personally, I felt this film did a wonderful, wonderful job the entire time of further expanding and showing off T'Challa and the Black Panther as an actual character, as opposed to the bland mess we were just kind of given in Civil War. Um, Not to mention, Chadwick Boseman is just an amazing actor. He can do no wrong in my eyes.
All right. Personally, I think the movie freaking sucked. I'm just gonna put that right out there. I will not be seeing it again. And the movie, in fact, put me to sleep for like a good 20 minutes. And I have people who can attest to that. That I actually did fall asleep sitting in the theater.
He actually did. It was kind of astonishing.
I was just, I felt like there was no real good, interesting story. Yeah, sure, it was all wrapped up neatly at the end with the Black Panther, but it did nothing to the overall Marvel arc that they've been going towards since the release of Iron Man in 2008. This didn't
Well,
really help. I don't feel like this helped to the Infinity Wars at all, and this could have been released like way later as just here's the storyline for Black Panther. Here's like an origin bit, but I feel it didn't really do much to contribute to an overall story.
Well, unfortunately, with T'Challa, his father was tragically killed. They had to build it from at least there, which puts them in the frame between Civil War and anything that would happen after that.
Oh yeah, the movie starts and it goes last week, so it's only a week after the
after
last. Yeah.
Civil
After
War,
Civil
not even
War.
after the last one. The last one was in the last one. The timeline would have been Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah,
which
so
may have
this
taken place at the same time as Civil War. That's completely unclear.
so then yeah, so this movie starts up before Civil War is even ended, because everything that happened in Civil War, I'm pretty sure took more than a
No,
week.
no, this was
No,
this
no,
was after Civil War.
it
Like
was after Civil War.
fully after
Yes,
every bit of
completely
fighting.
Yes.
after. Civil War, the timeline of Civil War was like 4 days.
Okay, I thought it was like a week or two.
No.
No,
Okay, so then this is like literally right after it.
this is a couple days
It
after. Yes.
it picks off it picks up right after the Sokovia Accords signings
No,
and
oh yeah.
the not
Oh yeah,
Sokovia.
I know. Yeah, you,
It it picks up right there because that's kind of where I feel like they could have had the most story with him. Only because we would have. Oh, how do I put this? We would have had to go through his
All his
life with his
ancestors.
father. If they had planned it like it would have been just like an origin story like Iron Man or the first Captain America, we would have had the before with his father.
But it could have
But
been
this
an
is
origin for just the Black Panther in general.
well, no, really, this film really should have only existed to do one thing, and I honestly believe it did that one thing, and it further developed T'Challa as a character because even though Marvel will say that they gave T'Challa this movie, one, because why not? It's the Black Panther, and two, because everyone was interested in Black Panther and Civil War. Honestly, I feel this movie is more of a redemption because T'Challa and the Black Panther in Civil War was just atrocious. I'm of the opinion that Civil War was way too short for its projected story, and it didn't have time to give Black Panther what it deserved. And this movie definitely gave T'Challa what he needed, but I guess I'm just gonna bite the drill lolly here, and that's all it did. It developed T'Challa, but beyond that, there was nothing there. It
But
was
I
the actual conflict of the film begins just as soon as it starts. It's sort of just bad guy shows up, bad guy does two bad things, we kill bad guy.
the whole point of the Black Panther movie was just the Wakanda needs to go help other nations. And that was like the real base plot there. And you had the group of people who were no, we must stick to our old ways, and then everyone else going no, we have to go do this. And then you've got T'Challa who's right there in the middle, and he's only kind of leaning. He starts leaning towards let's go with it. Let's release our
Well,
technology and stuff because he wants the girl.
if you think about it, technically no one's even opposed to helping the outside world except for T'Challa himself, and only for the first half of the movie.
but that's
Because,
because that's what he was raised on.
well, exactly, but really, that's one of the issues I have with T'Challa as a character in this film is that he just kind of shifts. Like I understand, like there's like they explain it. They explain it using Michael B. Jordan's character, which is Warmonger for all you Black Panther fans.
But that was Killmonger.
Shit, yeah, Killmonger. Sorry,
You're,
I'm
you're
not a big Black
saying
Panther
names, and
fan.
I don't even know who these characters are.
Well,
So
that's
I'm
what
not a big
happens when
Black
you
Panther
fall
fan
asleep.
myself. And I'm also completely exhausted. So
I just remember them saying Killmonger. I
it is
may have taken
Killmonger,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
I guess okay. Another good thing I enjoyed about the movie was I liked the scene where T'Challa's getting crowned and they're going around the tribes and they're doing all right, and we're not gonna fight and we're not gonna fight because they want him as king, and then the mountain ones show up and they're like no, we're gonna fight, and
Yeah,
I liked
actually,
that was pretty cool. I
that
enjoyed
brings me
seeing it.
into the next thing I was going to say about this film that I really enjoyed. Firstly, just the effects and the cinematography of this film is just beautiful, absolutely stunning. Probably what some of the best effects that any Marvel movie's ever done. But beyond that, the effects blend really well with this tribal African feel they try to get for a majority of the film. And it's just they understand their setting and the tone really, really well. Um,
Which I feel Marvel does really good at.
yeah,
At least
they've
they
done
try
well
to
at
be
that
good
in the
at.
past.
But to jump in with camera, just because I want to know what you two feel about this, I felt that during the combat scenes, the camera was just a little too shaky.
See,
I felt it like it jumped around a little bit too
actually,
much, but
I'm kind
other
of
than
of
that, they
the
were great.
I'm kind of the inverse opinion that yes, it was very shaky, but I don't think it jumped around enough. I've gotten used to the point where it's okay. I'm used to the camera jumping from one scene to another at this point, so I've come to expect that with a Marvel movie. So this would be a good thing that if it was less common, but really
Well, I mean,
it's
like,
just they focuses on one aspect of a big fight sequence that you shouldn't need to focus on for a lot of the point. Like the death of Killmonger is like a total of 30 seconds, whereas there's a good 45 seconds of just a girl standing in front of a rhino. And it's just they focus on the wrong thing during final fight sequences. And the final fight sequence in and of itself is just super, super slow.
What was the importance of the rhinos? Like, is it something from the comics? I didn't
It's just
feel like the
rhinos.
rhinos were important.
I
They're
feel
just
okay. I
rhinos.
think they're the battle
They're like the
rhinos
cavalry.
of
It's just a cool
that.
thing. Like, hey, we put armor on rhinos.
Okay. The
I
other
think
thing.
I think
Style.
it was a thing for that specific tribe that was raising.
Okay. Another thing I noticed was they kept, like, this whole time we've got vibranium. It does a whole bunch of stuff, and I get that this movie was to further what it can do, but a lot of it seemed a little stretched. Like, did you notice in that final fight sequence, the shields, they were cloth shields, which I'm fine with. If you make cloth and you weave in vibranium, yeah, you're gonna get bulletproof. But this was like force field extending up like a good 3 or 4 feet above where they were holding the cloth.
Well,
I think
honestly,
I think that was a technological based thing.
it
It
really
just looked really weird.
no,
No, I'm not
okay.
disagreeing
It
with you. It
looks
did.
weird, but it's just this. I'm going to be the first person to say, yeah, it looks weird, but I think it's amazing. It was cool. It was an interesting design for a shield.
To be
Give it,
cloth.
especially, yeah, it's just they're whole cloth and it becomes this awesome impenetrable shield. And I don't want to get into the science of it because that's what ruins these types of things.
It's
Marvel
been
likes to try and explain their science, and that just kind of makes things sound more wrong. Like, oh, the Bifrost works this way. That's not how light works. You just sound more wrong because you're saying that's how light works.
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like you kind of have to come into this movie like with a grain of salt. Like I came in not expecting a whole lot of plot progression in terms of like it leading up to Civil War, other than or not Civil War, Infinity War,
Wars.
other than Wakanda is here now. We're here to help. We're here to give you our vibranium. We're here to defend the world. I felt it was like you can look at it as like a little bit of a standalone, kind of like Ant-Man. We all didn't think much of Ant-Man I guess when
Oh,
it
I
first
Oh,
loved
came
Ant
I
out.
Man.
loved Ant-Man. Ant-Man was
No, I
amazing.
know you two did. I loved Ant-Man. I had nothing wrong with Ant-Man.
It was a poorly written story, but amazing acting, great banter, and a decent ending.
Puppy,
But
how many
that's
times did you
beyond the
see
point.
that in theaters?
7.
Oh
7.
my god, you paid
Seven
you
times.
No,
paid.
I never paid, which is why I saw it 7 times.
Oh.
I went into Black Panther having been told that, like, this was going to be the best Marvel movie, and it was just like, to that, it was a
Yeah,
total letdown.
it was a big letdown because
Yeah,
I wasn't
I agree.
expecting it. Okay, so I've heard complaints. I'm not going to say from who or where, but Jerry, that that it doesn't lead into the overall story of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But honestly, what would it do? Because we've already set up Infinity Wars with Thor Ragnarok. It just dropped you in there already.
Missing the last Infinity Stone.
See,
Yeah,
And that's
I
what
under
I want to
great.
know. I want to know, where's the soul? Where's Soul Stone? Like, it would have made sense from everything I was reading that the way the Wakandans talked to the Panther god, because I'm blanking on his name, the way they communicated with the
Bassett?
old gods was through the Soul Stone.
Okay,
Like, that
small
would have made
nitpick.
sense.
I'm kind of pissed off that the Panther God didn't get to show up.
Oh yeah, no, I'm beyond.
Okay,
I'm beyond
but
pissed.
it was kind of cool to see all the old Black
Oh
Panthers
yeah, that's
turn
yeah.
from
It was
Panthers. Like, that was cool. But I would have
it
liked
was a
to see
great
the
scene.
god. Yeah, I would have
Yeah, that
liked
was-
to have seen the god
I would have liked to see the massive, intimidating figure of
looming over.
the Panther God
Okay.
of Wakanda.
See what you guys are saying just sounds like the scene from The Lion King. You must know who you are, and I would have totally been down for
Yeah,
something
and The Lion
like
King
that.
is the second best Disney movie behind Lion King 2.
Oh my god.
What about Lion King 1.5?
Okay, we don't talk
We
about
don't
that
talk
movie.
about that one.
But anyway, I'm just gonna go over the last couple things I really enjoyed before I get into the. Well, actually, mostly just nitpicks.
And then
I like how I
questions.
have. I like how I have not like been able to say at all what
Please
I
go
like.
ahead. Go right ahead.
like I liked how they did do very good with tying in their culture. I mean, I being my the friends we saw it with, like one of our friends just loves cultures. Like, oh
Sorry,
my god.
that was a knife.
Do you want to
Look,
give some context behind that, or just leave it at that?
It was a karambit.
Thank you.
so our friend loves culture, and I had to lean over to her and ask a couple things about the culture, because I'm not very much a cultural. Makes me sound like I'm an uncultured swine, but I
That's what I
don't
was
like.
thinking.
Oh my
You
god.
mean white?
Oh my god. Yes, I guess if that's how you want to
No,
put it.
yeah, we are the whitest of white guys, but really that shouldn't be relevant at all in the
Hey,
discussion.
hey, hey! Snore and I walked up to this movie with Starbucks in hand. It doesn't get whiter than that.
Yeah, and I didn't even get a Starbucks.
But
And,
no, really,
so you guys are whiter than me, which is sad.
But okay, so I'll go off on a bit of a tangent here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is a big thing I'm seeing online, both for and against this film. The whole race thing, it shouldn't be relevant at all.
No, I didn't
Um,
care at all.
Like,
No.
it's
I thought
not
it was
good,
good.
because it's mostly of black actors, and it's not bad because it's mostly black actors. It's good
It's
culturally speaking because it's African culture, which is something that's rarely shown, especially in a superhero film.
oh
But
yeah.
it's not good culture because they're black. It's good culture because it's interesting.
And that's another thing I liked about this, like Black Panther historically through Marvel's hasn't gotten a lot of um gotten a lot of time to shine. Like there were nods to him in some of the old cartoons. I say old and
You say
I'm
old, mean
I say
early
old, I mean like
2000s.
yeah, early 2000s.
Did he even? He showed up in those?
Yeah,
Occasionally,
they were well. There was
like
mention
next
into, like,
Avengers.
I
His
didn't
kid was in
watch any
that.
of the cartoons.
like the most we got of that general area was Storm
Oh yeah.
and like one of the old X-Men. I forget which one it was.
Where's
The
my
old, one of
cool
the old
Asian
X-Men cartoons.
superheroes?
Wait, dude, where's my car?
But so I liked how they gave more light to something that really hasn't had time to shine, and they made it look like it was supposed to.
No, yeah, it definitely did a great job
Culture.
showing off the Black Panther and showing off the culture surrounding him in Wakanda, and even the real life cultures that Wakanda is based off of. It did a great job showing off and explaining that.
I like how they were explaining, okay, you've got Wakanda, the Golden City, and then you've got what the rest of the world sees. Because they
Oh
made
yeah,
it
no,
high.
they
That was really
explain.
interesting.
Like, I was expecting it to be like a 20-minute explanation and just be super boring about how they have to explain it 30 times why Wakanda is the way it is. But luckily, they pull it off in the same way the first Lord of the Rings did it, and just, here's the intro, we're done. Here's
We're not gonna
2
touch it
minutes
again.
to explain the lore of the world. If you aren't listening, you're off taking a piss. Sucks. And I honestly thank you. You aren't holding my hand throughout the entire filming experience. I can actually get engaged now.
I hate when films hold your hand through like you're stupid, like you don't get what's going on. Well, that's because if we don't get what's going on, it's because you're doing a bad job.
There was a toddler next to me through the entire film, talking through the first half of it,
Oh,
and he
really?
understood pretty well. Yeah, it was pissing me off.
But
He
he-
left
but he-
eventually.
Oh, but he understood what was going on.
Yeah, he understood very well the lore of Wakanda after the first 4 minutes.
All right, let's go into a bit of lore. The Black Panther's powers all come from that flower thing.
I can't
The
remember what it's called either.
heart herb.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna Google it really quick.
Yeah, Google it. So
No, it was the heart herb.
What
I remember
powers
it.
does the Black Panther actually? He's
Okay.
faster, more agility.
Super speed, relatively high super speed, much higher
Strength.
stamina. He's pretty much Captain America, but slightly weaker.
But
Strength, stamina, speed, and agility.
but
Yeah.
then giving him a little bit of a drink is gonna take that power away.
Yes,
But what he drank
it's magic.
to
Like,
take
this
it
is-
away,
like, there's
I
no
think
even-
was some sort of black liquid. So maybe there is something to counteract that.
Well, yeah, there is.
And maybe he just drinks
It shows
coke.
up.
We don't know.
No, it shows. Okay, so the problem is they don't actually say this in the movie, which again I love. Thank you for not just making this abundantly clear what it is. Not because we have to speculate, but because it's kind of obvious. This is, I think, the second time in a Marvel movie where legit they just show magic and don't expect you to understand it. But no, this is legit just magic.
The whole powers itself, or
Yeah.
the drink?
Yeah, everything about it. He is legit
Okay.
blessed by a god. This is a form of magic.
Okay, I enjoyed back to where I was going towards way earlier with the fighting to become king. I did like how to fight the king, to become king, you have to fight the Black Panther without his powers. He used to, prove it without it, and then okay, we'll give him back to you. But then, what was the purpose of burying him in the sand, or in the case at the end in the snow, to connect to the astral? Okay, there was the astral plane. That's
It
what
was
connecting?
it was you. It was what, the realm of
Ancestral.
the ancestors.
The ancestral plane. Thank you. So like I get that, but why the burying?
It you're kind of you're questioning issues that shouldn't be brought up.
I'm
really.
questioning what was like bothering me. Like, sure, he could have just laid there and like connected, but no, it's we need to bury you.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a cultural thing.
Don't question.
rather
I don't need to ask questions if it's cultural. Like,
Well,
I
it's
can
not even. I
understand.
don't think it's even really cultural. It's just you're nitpicking a fictional ritual.
I am, because I'm just like that.
Well,
I'm gonna
even then,
nitpick another
some
thing in a
of
minute,
this.
too.
Yeah, it's somewhat related to ancient African tribal
All right,
beliefs, but like
then I'll take it at that. That it's cultural.
it could be something cultural, or it could just be completely made up for the sake of this fantasy ritual.
Okay,
Either
fine.
way, bring me
Either
up.
way,
it
it's
just
part
isn't-
of the Wakandan culture. So
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
part
really
of this
think we
fictional
have-
culture.
I can take it as part of culture. Second point to be nitpicky about: T'Challa. Say T'Challa he loses, and somebody else in the distant future has to take over and take up the mantle of Black Panther. You're out of the purple flower thing.
Okay, maybe they'll explain that. Maybe not. Who knows?
I can understand. Okay, it's magic, so maybe you don't necessarily need the flower, and the flower bit was just for show. And
No, you need the flower.
Okay, you need the flower.
You need the flower.
Well, they use the flower to transfer over into the ancestral plane.
But like,
So really, Michael B. Jordan's character Killmonger cut off the whole link
Yeah.
to the ancestral world by
That is
destroying all
actually
those flowers.
that is actually a big thing that they don't touch on. At the end of the movie, they just kind of treat like everything's been resolved. You don't realize that they don't bring up the fact that he literally just burned all of those flowers.
I could understand maybe
There are
there's some more.
none
There
left.
could be some more somewhere else.
Yeah, you can get more from, I don't know, the Panther God of Wakanda, but other than that, what are you doing? You just
That
they
part bugged
just
me.
leave it. It's becomes this
that-
hole in the story.
No, that bugs me too. It's because it's just like, okay, he
It's-
burned all these flowers. She took the one, used it to save his life. Well, now you don't have anything else to
Yeah,
crown another
I
king.
thought she had taken it so they could like grow more or something.
Oh no, that's what I thought too. Clearly we were wrong.
It's just it's not even the fact that happens. Like, I'd be fine with that just happening if they at least say, like, this is an issue, but there's nothing we can do. But no, they don't even mention it. They just act like it never happened.
Jumping around, more nitpickiness. So T'Challa, he gets thrown off the waterfall, and then they find him with those are monkeys. It was a monkey dude. That's
The
what
gorilla-
those
the
guys.
gorillas?
Yes, they're
Okay,
called
gorillas.
yeah.
Okay,
the gorillas,
so
yeah.
They're talking with their air quote ruler, their tribal leader.
Oh wait,
I guess
just for reference to anyone who doesn't understand it, they're not actually monkeys. They're just called gorillas.
They're gorilla people.
They're just big hairy
They're-
guys.
So they go over there trying to get him
Yes,
to
big,
go
hairy
fight the
mountain
big
people.
baddie of the movie, but then they find out he has T'Challa there. But he's like, if you will, we need his sister, T'Challa's sister's like, oh, we need to take him back to my lab. Oh, well, he'll die in minutes if you move him. It's like, he was already in a coma. You're not doing anything to help him. All you do is put him on ice.
That was kind of stupid, actually. Was what's keeping him alive? Snow.
Him laying
Is it
on
magic
snow.
snow?
But,
Yeah.
okay, let's be fair. Captain America got trapped in ice for 70
Yeah, but
years
he
and
was
he was still
frozen.
alive.
but you can be frozen solid and reanimated. This was I'm in a coma laying on snow, and if
Like,
you move
I'd
me,
legit
I'm gonna
have
die.
no problem. I would have no problem with the, oh, it's because of the snow, if they at least said, like, oh, it's because of the magic snow.
Yeah, or if he had frozen solid, that would have been fine too. But this was, oh, he's
It's
laying
snow.
on snow. If you move him, he's gonna die in a few minutes.
Well, cold slows bodily processes.
Yeah, but he
Trust
wasn't.
me, I know.
But he wasn't.
But it, it was just, I can't
It
even
was
put this
just
into words. It was
so.
just
Like, I feel like there was like a scene missing from there.
deleted
Look,
scenes
okay,
right there.
I'm not going to try to defend this from snow. I'm just saying, it's being cold slows down your bodily processes. So the only thing I can attribute
You're right.
to
If
him
I
being
remove
in
you,
snow is it slowed the blood to whatever was hurting him, or it slowed down his functions to keep his brain alive a little more, or
But
something.
then, if they hadn't have shown up with the flower, when would he have died? From sitting in a coma
probably-
laying on snow? Was it have just
they
been
made
a
it
few
seem
more
like he
minutes?
was just gonna be in a coma forever.
Forever
if they
until
just
you
left him in the
moved him.
snow.
Yeah, until you moved him from the snow.
This is the eternal snow angel. We love him very much.
Oh my god.
This snow is keeping him alive.
Oh my god, stop.
What else can I nitpick on the movie? Okay, let's
Oh my god.
do the end credit scenes.
Okay, the end credit
Okay.
scenes.
Let's do the
They
first
should.
one, and then we'll go to the second one.
First one,
The first
That was
one, I feel
kinda-
like that could set up for some stuff in Infinity Wars,
maybe, or maybe beyond that. I'm not sure.
just to more advances places. Like that makes sense. You're setting up a shelter, not so much an air quote shelter, but for a place for Wakanda to help people, and you're revealing to the world Wakanda has been secretly hiding these resources for years. People are going to be really pissed about that.
Oh no, agreed. They will be completely pissed.
Yeah, it might result in this weird thing later on. Time will tell. We'll see in Infinity Wars, but
I
that-
so badly wanted him to turn
I don't
into
know.
the
I
Black
felt like
Panther.
that after credit scene was actually kind of unnecessary because
Well,
they
that
kind of
was-
already told you that was going to happen with the actual end of the movie.
And then I kept waiting for him to pull an Iron Man and do the, oh, well, what resources do you have?
I'm
And then
Iron
just
Man.
cut the scene. I wanted him to go, I'm the Black Panther, and the helmet pop on.
That's what I
no,
wanted to
he
happen.
just grins there smarmily.
I wanted to see him wear the gold Black Panther one.
Okay, well now you're just nitpicking about a costume that's not his to begin with.
No. I'm just saying I wanted to see him like try in each outfit. Like you see him in the one he said he designed, and then you see him in the one that he's like, oh, this is more subtle. We saw Big Baddie in the golden, but I wanted to see him in it too.
Wait. Oh.
What?
So there's something kind of depressing about the whole suit thing. I don't know. It's not really an issue with the film. It's an issue with. It's not really an issue. It's just a nitpick I have. The whole reason the Black Panther suit works the way it does is because it's lined with vibranium.
Yeah.
But I just realized that's not his. He has a new suit in this film, and they don't explicitly say it's not vibranium, but they explicitly tell you what it is, and it's not vibranium.
Okay, I bet you there's vibranium laced in
Yeah,
it
probably.
to make it bulletproof. But then there's the whole thing where it absorbs force and shoots it back, which
That's what vibranium does anyway.
I know. Well, I mean, that point there, Harry Dresdening it right there. Those are his rings. You punch, it absorbs kinetic energy, and then you just release it when you want it. I've used that for D&D characters. It's a cool thing. But it was like putting that on the suit. It just felt weird.
It
To where
resulted
you'd
in
see it where, like, sure, okay, when he got shot or he got punched and you could see where all the kinetic energy was built up, that was kind of cool. But then
Yeah,
it
it
was
was a
like,
cool effect.
at what point could the suit not hold anymore?
Yeah, they started talking like there was like 2 times where like, hey, you're taking on too much, and it's like
Yeah, I was like, how do
nothing
you know?
looks different.
Everything, including vibranium, has a limit.
Yeah, and
Actually, well, yeah, but
his sister was like, hey, you haven't used your suit in a while, and you've been taking a lot of heavy fire, and then he he flips a car, but like, what would have happened? Would he have just like exploded? Like, what would the
yeah.
damage have been to him?
it just kind of seems, I don't know. It seems kind of like a good addition because it was like, hey, here's a new power he just has. Why not?
But I definitely
it's
want
like,
that necklace.
I
The
want
silver one.
I want that vibranium suit, guys. Um, but the problem is, if you've noticed something, we're talking about literally two characters for this entire film, and that gets into my next issue with the film. All the supporting characters, the actors are great. I love them. They were well acted, they were good choices for the characters. But the problem is the characters were bland.
Well, okay, I loved the little sister.
Yeah, she was entertaining.
My God.
Okay,
She was
She
entertaining.
was so
but
good.
how smart is she? If you put her, Tony Stark, and Bruce Banner in a room, what would happen? Who's the smartest?
I don't
Tony
care.
Stark.
I don't.
Are you sure? Because it
Tony
seems
Stark.
like she was making way more technological advancements.
Because she has vibranium.
Tony had a little bit of vibranium.
He did not have a literal mountain.
And all he did was make a.
Okay, no, it's been confirmed in comic books, but in universe that Tony is just the smartest guy in existence.
Okay, well I don't care who's the smartest in the room. I just want to see what they build.
Yeah, put them all in a room together.
Probably some kind of
Because
missile.
know.
If she had been around when Ultron was being made, what would have happened?
Oh, that would have been a nightmare in itself. She just would have been like, let's see, what can I do? Oh, I can hit this button. Problem solved.
I'm gonna give them sandals. I like the sandal scene. The sandal scene was.
I call them sneakers.
No, not even that. It was the what are those? He's wearing the sandals. And he's like, I wanted to go traditional for my first day out, and he's wearing like regular sandals.
And just what are those?
Yeah, that was so forced and obnoxious.
The sneakers where she does that made like cool. She introduced these sneakers that are totally silent. Didn't use them the whole movie.
Oh, he did use them. You just don't notice him using them because they're totally silent. No.
But there was no point where he was like, I need to be super quiet. Like, why?
Yeah, no, he was literally spent the rest of the movie just punching people broad daylight.
Yeah.
Except for the South Korea section, but.
I loved the vibe that the two of them had. Like when she was showing him the suit and he kicked it and she was like, oh my God, what'd you do? And then she sat back and says, kick it again. And she started recording.
So
he's like, oh, it's for research purposes. And he kicked it and it exploded. That was something I would do to you guys. Yeah. And you know it.
Yeah.
T'Challa was a great character, but he had an issue in that he had nothing to bounce off of. Boseman is really charismatic just as an actor and as a person. He played T'Challa as a really charismatic king.
The only thing he had to pull off was his father's death, and that was it.
Yeah, he didn't have a character to bounce off of. He didn't have anyone to speak with, no one to approach his level. He was just talking to people, and they just treated him like, oh yeah, of course. Everyone was too serious for this not so serious character. Even though he's definitely very serious at points, so he's not like this lovable goofball. He is T'Challa, king of Wakanda. And that's well established, but there are many points where he's not that. He's just this really down-to-earth but kind of joking, charismatic fellow, but no one else in the film is like that. So it just stands out and feels awkward.
Yeah. And I'd like to point this out, since we did bring up the what are those meme. How many times did you guys, in your head, because of the accent, go, do you know the way?
It's kind of racist.
Talk about that.
We're not going to
I didn't at all. I was too busy trying to watch the film.
I was
to
too
take
busy.
part in dead memes.
Yeah. I was too busy focusing on the fact that they had a whole Tokyo drift sequence, and I was just like super excited for that.
But whenever he said that is not our way, I'm just like, oh no, here it comes, and then just in my head would go, do you know the way?
but the movie had already been made before that happened.
Oh no, I completely understand that. It's unfortunate.
I'm happy that wasn't a thing in the movie. Like, they didn't go back and try and slip that in. Okay, let's talk about Claw. I felt like they killed him off like way too quickly.
Yeah.
Like, he died.
I'm sorry, who was Claw? Was he in that movie?
Yeah.
Claw is supposed to be one of Black Panther's most...
He is Black Panther's most prominent villain.
Yeah, prominent.
He shows up in a different movie, he's mentioned in another, and he gets shot by a plane. By a plane.
Three scenes.
Yeah. Although
and dies.
They
kill off.
Kind of cool.
And I love
and the only character he'd be decent.
And I love Andy Serkis, but he had so much more to contribute to that film.
I miss you, Claw.
He was Claw,
I
wasn't
kept, yeah, I kept
Yeah.
thinking. Anytime they said his name, I kept thinking to Inspector Gadget, and I was like waiting for his hand to like turn into a claw, but it didn't. And then
A moment of silence for Claw's wasted potential.
You can still hear your fans.
I'm giving up on you.
Okay, that's enough of that. Any other final bit topics we want to talk about? We can always do a more in-depth review with everybody later. This is just us, general podcast chat show.
I feel like they did. Yes, some of the characters were bland, but I feel like Lupita Nyong'o's character and the little sister were the most standout of the film.
Oh yeah, the little sister was like amazing.
Little sister was.
I loved her thing where it was like, hey, look, I can control this vehicle from another place, and then when it gets destroyed, she just kind of fell to the ground. That was just adorable.
And she just landed. She was just like
in the sand.
Ow!
Yeah. So the film does. We did a lot of nitpicking and actually brought up like the 2-3 things we didn't like with the film. I just gotta say the film does a lot of things really well, but the problem is most of those things are better done in not just other movies, but other movies in the MCU. This is by no means the best movie in the MCU, but it is a great addition.
I would say my vote, Black Panther, worst MCU movie. Best, Doctor Strange. I really.
Oh, Doctor Strange is amazing.
I'll put that.
Yeah,
I'll
good
put that
film.
As the best.
Now here's the thing. If this little movie review podcast thing comes a thing, how much longer do you think this video would be if it were Ready Player One?
Oh,
well, we'll see when that film comes out.
Don't get me started on how mad I am at the trailers to this. Like,
hey, like and subscribe to see him get really pissed off and cry because of how bad Ready Player One's gonna be.
Yeah, I could go on for 40 minutes just about the trailer, comparing it to the book.
We'll sit down for a good 3 hours.
Don't take me there at 1 o'clock in the morning to talk about Ready Player One. It's written on my class ring.
Anyway.
Now I'm angry. Thanks.
On a scale,
I kept waiting for like the trailer to pop up because I know that they had a new trailer and it shows things and it's not how I pictured the characters. Continue. I'm just gonna sit here and be mad.
So I guess just for Black Panther, on a scale of 1 T'Challa to 10 T'Challas, I give it 7 bland Panthers.
7 bland Panthers.
7 out of 10 is still actually a really good score for me because I'm super harsh on movies. Like, super harsh. 7 out of 10 is probably a bit generous for this film.
Alright.
On a scale of 1 awesome little sister to 10 awesome little sisters, I give it an 8 little sisters are awesome.
On a scale of
just the little sister
heart thing to 10 purple heart things, I'd have to give it a solid maybe 4.5 purple heart things.
Yeah.
That give you magical powers.
If you're a Marvel fan, you owe it to yourself to see the movie, but be warned, you've seen this movie before, and it doesn't bring much more to the table other than a unique twist on what you've already seen in other Marvel films.
Oh, wait, there was one more thing we have yet to discuss, and that's the end credit scene.
Let's save that one for the next video we'll talk about Marvel, where we can talk about what we think's going to happen with Infinity Wars, because...
No, you don't want to ask me that.
My baby Barnes over there.
Alright, fine, we'll briefly touch on it. Bucky shows up at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. There's your explanation. Bucky's in it.
Yeah, we all knew it was going to happen. Bucky's in the trailer for Infinity Wars. So he was either going to show up at the end of Black Panther or the beginning of Infinity Wars.
No,
I am going to say that I was actually not expecting it to be Bucky. I was expecting it to be Cap, just alright, I'm ready to go. Let's go do this.
It had to be Bucky.
Well, I think that's where we should close it off for tonight.
Alright,
yeah.
Remember everybody to smash that like button if you enjoyed this, and
don't
smash
ever say
that
that
dislike button if you really hated this, because I enjoy some feedback sometimes. Thank you all for
Sometimes.
watching, and we will catch you next time at the Dragon Hearts Guild. Bye-bye.